And who is behind today's Pinhead on a Stick?
Hello, my name's Scabies. Probably Two Tribes, Frankie Goes to Hollywood was my favourite pop single of the time. Probably ZZ Top, Eliminator was one of the few records you could listen to all the way through. One of the other records that we used to have on in the van a lot, because we were on, you know, the Damned were on tour all the time, was Prince. Paisley Park was sort of quite popular, believe it or not, for the hardcore punk band what we was. Blade Runner, Paris, Texas, that was another one of my sort of favourites. And John Carpenter's The Fog as well, that was another one that was out then. That was always a good entertainment. I think one of the bands that came through though that I always had a bit of time for was Zodiac Mind Warp and The Love Reaction. Well, I thought they came in with a bang, you know, and sort of left with a whimper, but no, well, Flexipop, of course. Yeah, Minder. One Foot in the Grave. Yeah, no, it'd have to be Alice Cooper, I think, at Wembley. Oh, padded shoulders. Padded shoulders, high collars, skinny jeans, pointy shoes. It was, you know, it said it all really, didn't it? That was the kind of, you know, it was what I call the Cowboys and Crucifix era really, you know, it was like all the gigs we used to do, everybody would turn up and they'd all be in all these little semi-goths with fringe jackets and cowboy boots, wearing crosses and sort of conflicted styles. Hitchhikers and Douglas Adams, just his take on life and his attitude to the world and the way we view it. It was kind of like physics for, you know, an idiot's guide to physics almost. So I think, yeah, it'd have to be Douglas Adams. The constant thing, believe it or not, was always was the Archers. Because you'd go out and have this sort of mental time on the road and getting pissed and taking drugs and late nights and everything that went with it. And then coming home, I just always wanted to completely remove myself from all of that. And the ritual always used to be Sunday morning, the Archers on, breakfast on the go, you know, sausage, bacon and eggs, and a bit of kind of a return to normality. So it was a great, you know, it was a great equaliser. I think it was like a New Year's Eve in Glasgow at the Apollo. And I just remember it was one of them nights when everyone in there was on it, and the band was on it, and I just remember we were playing, we used to do an MC5 song called Looking at You. And part of the thing was during the middle we all used to go really quiet and, you know, and do a thing. And I just remember this incredibly huge silence coming off the crowd. Just everybody went with us. And it completely silenced. There wasn't even one bloke shouting out, "Hey, you bastard!" You know, which is what you nearly always got. And just this one night where there was kind of like 3,000 people in front of you, and it's one of those gigs where you sort of sit outside and watch yourself play, and just this thing of this absolute respect that we kind of, the audience showed us, and that we kind of, you know, did our best to give back, I suppose. But silence it was the most powerful thing. Towards the end of the band in the 80s, when we'd been like overplayed, you know, we'd done it too much, and a lot of the sort of fire had gone out of it and enthusiasm. You know, we'd just been doing it too much. Just up the road in Brentford. I've always lived here. If anything I'd have changed, it would have been what I was just talking about. I wouldn't have caned the band so hard, you know. You get a lifetime to write the first album and 3 months to write the second. And I think we came in with a good first album, but we were kind of pressured into making the next one. And we weren't really ready to do that. And, you know, the whole thing about the Damned was always that we would make records that we wanted to make and that we liked listening to. And it wasn't about the commercial success, but suddenly we'd found ourselves in the middle of this whole commercial world where actually the only thing that mattered was the product, and it was product. And instead of doing what we wanted to do, we actually let ourselves get sort of bullied into trying to compete on that level, and I think that was a mistake. I got a really bad haircut in Dublin, and it grew back again. The best thing about it in the 80s was being at a party once, and somebody asking me what I did for a living, and I said I'm a drummer, and they looked quite surprised and said, I didn't know you could make money from doing that. And actually, it really hit with me, because it was when I realised that I'd kind of become what I set out to achieve. I'd always wanted to be a drummer, you know. I see the world as a series of levels, and I think the secret is to kind of, when you've got your level, to understand that, you know, there are some people that are much better at things than you are, and there's some people that aren't quite as good. And so to say who would I be, it doesn't sit in well with the way I view the world, maybe. Oh, fucking hell. That's a big question. It's difficult not to believe in the universe and what exists and what we can see, but it's very difficult to believe in a bloke who comes from the void and vacuum of space and then decides to invent us, you know. I sort of do the grail thing these days, you know, the sort of, again, it's tied in with a lot of Bible and religion and stuff like that, but I'm a grail hunter. Okay, when I get up in the morning and there's nobody about, I make coffee and I watch a film. I know it's absolutely pathetic as a guilty secret, but it's one of the few things that I really, really enjoy, is just having like 90 minutes of me time where I can just sit there and watch, you know, like a good movie. The rest's too much public knowledge, everyone knows what I'm like.